Of all the styles of black comedy, the rom-com has long been one of the most overlooked and underrated.
I didn't see a lot of rom-coms that featured black people.
And then in 1999, Universal drops The Best Man.
You don't think that me has ever got with any other dudes?
I'm the first, the last, and the only.
With a hot young cast, bursting with talent, and a fresh new way of presenting the black experience.
I just wasn't seeing black people that I could relate to on screen. That wasn't my experience.
The film touches audiences and Hollywood in powerful ways.
There were no crack pipes and
Stocking cap.
no stocking caps.
It spawns a franchise, inspires a genre,
It was nice to have these beautiful black love stories told.
and changes perceptions of black love on screen.
It's a necessary story to tell because it's our truth.
The best romance,
I could be like this with you forever.
the best jokes, the best everything,
You read my book? Quentin has my book?
the best man.
Besides, how much ass can one man have anyway?
What we created spawned a whole generation.
Uncut, in your face.
That guy has got it.
First show I fell in love with.
Jefferson.
Sanford, some movie star, that's rare.
Fresh new energy.
Multi-dimensional.
Unapologetic.
People want to see.
You can't even talk about black comedy without
Deb Comedy, Eddie Murphy. Kings of comedy.
Kevin Hart.
fundamental to the black culture. It was so important to see rom-coms because we love romance and we love to laugh.
You can't ever talk about black rom-coms without talking about The Best Man.
What's up, man?
Early 2000s, even late 90s, you started seeing the advent of a lot of black rom-coms. Number one on the list is The Best Man.
My hormones are raging out of control. I'm emotional, I'm horny, and I don't want to hear about no goddamn peace.
Yeah.
You get no argument here.
I mean, it starts off very, very dramatic.
Hart, Taye Diggs' character, has written a book and decided to add the part where he has slept with his best friend's future wife.
You scandalous dog.
Nia Long's character gets the book early and everybody reads it and understands what happened except the guy who's about to be married. And he finds out and all hell breaks loose.
I fool about to fall.
So talented.
Who's the lady who played
Melissa
Merch's-
D'Souza.
Melissa D'Souza,
Yes.
hilarious.
Harper Stewart. Richard Wrong, Langston Snooze.
It has so much comedic undertones and Terrence Howard.
There's about to be a oasis in that baby, honey.
It's funny.
Harold Perrineau, he was funny to me.
Do you love me?
The first time we saw him was on Oz.
Yes.
And there was nothing funny about his character that was in a
Nothing.
wheelchair ready to kill anybody. Regina Hall.
Yes, Regina was the stripper in that.
That cast is
Isn't it?
phenomenal.
Yeah, and Monica Calhoun, who played like the straight person. Yes, she was my first acting teacher.
Sanaa Lathan.
And then fine ass Morris Chestnut.
He helped put dark skin on the map. I hope you're happy for that.
Oh, no.
It was Wesley.
Always bet on black.
He
and
put
Morris.
in shape dark skin on the map.
Lord, please forgive me of my wayward dick. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Malcolm Lee, director extraordinaire.
You forgot the D.
What does the D stand for?
Donald.
Not Malcolm, director Lee.
No.
That's what I thought the D was for.
Well, you know, I think I started using the D in film school. And I don't know why. I just said, you know, I just want to distinguish myself somehow.
Why directing?
You know-
Why did you choose that?
I knew when I was 19 that I wanted to be a filmmaker. And so when Spike got to, start making movies, he let me see that it was possible.
Action.
That somebody black, somebody in my family could actually be making movies. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I knew after working with Spike the summer of 1994 I was Spike's assistant on Clockers. And I really got, that was like a year of film school.
My man Shorty. Keep hitting them books, all right? If I ever catch you playing hooky, put a chap in your ass.
He'd always encourage me, like, hey, make black film, write black film. You know, it kind of stuck, and it kind of fit, you know, my personality.
In 1999, you put out The Best Man, romantic comedy, one of my personal favorites.
Praise the Lord and pass the panties.
Where's the live dog? You know that.
The day that it came out, I was with my homegirls, and we was like, we about to go see these fine-ass men. During that time, from what I remember, I didn't see a lot of rom-coms that featured black people or black love.
Right.
So what gave you the wherewithal or inspired you to make this movie?
It's interesting that you say that, like, you were there for the men. That was primarily the reason I wanted to make it. I wanted to center for black men in this movie, because I really wasn't seeing myself represented in a way that I thought was authentic and true. You know, college-educated black men, particularly, you know, on screen, were very kind of stiff and check their ethnicity at the door.
Why didn't I think of that? See, that's a thought.
Excuse me. Could you tell me how long that'll be standing there?
You know, a movie like Love Jones was certainly inspirational to me, you know.
Was inspirational to me, too.
So part of it was inspired by Waiting to Exhale as well. You know, there was 4 black women, you know, centered there.
I don't know why they call this mess happy hours. Well, it's still early yet, girl.
Oh, sweetie, that's not it. This is your first time hanging out?
I hate to be the one to break it to you, but this is as good as it gets.
Talked about their loves and lives and hang-ups and whatnot. And I thought, like, you know, there really hadn't been, you know, that representation for black men.
Yeah, well, you better take notes, player. You're gonna have to beat random honeys off with a stick soon.
Ooh, hard. Oh, hell no.
Oh, well, hell yeah, I'm telling you, once he does open, man, it's gonna be on.
I wanted the audience members to be, particularly women in the audience, to be a fly on the wall. You know, to see, like, you know, this is how men talk about women and relationships and life in general.
Ain't nothing natural about no monogamy. I mean, God did not intend for us to be with just one person. If he had, he wouldn't have given us all this sperm.
Oh!
These bitches would not outnumber us the way that they do.
Okay.
I knew when I wrote Best Man that I was trying to write something very commercial.
Nice boxers. I thought you were strictly a briefs man.
Oh, they were a gift from Robin.
The girl's got taste, huh?
It was able to show life beyond the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I wrote it, I gave it to Spike. He was like, this is it. And the next thing I knew, I was being flown on a plane to meet Amy Pascal at Sony, because Spike had a deal there at the time.
So then you get the movie sold, you're making the movie, you're casting the movie. How do you figure out who to cast?
Well, it's
Or
funny.
did you already have in mind who you
I
wanted?
did have people in mind.
Who did you have in mind?
I'll tell you. I had read an article where Will Smith said there's such a dearth of roles for African Americans to play that I can't even find a movie to do with my wife. So I said, I'm gonna write this screenplay for Will and Jada, right? So I had them in mind as I was writing. I had Chris Tucker in mind to play Quentin. Again, Nicole Ari Parker was in mind for Shelby. You know, when we got to the casting of it, the black acting community was very ready for it because there really had not been a movie where black people would just be people.
I am so in love with this man. I wish I could take sole credit for being swept off my feet, but Lance certainly played a major part in that. And that new contract didn't hurt either.
Off the bat, we cast Tay because he had just come off of Stella.
And he was fine.
And very good looking.
Very fine.
A very good looking leading man. One of the first people that came in was Morris Chestnut. He actually read for Harper. And I was like, because at first, when he first came in, I hadn't seen that much of Morris. I had seen him in Boys in the Hood, and I was like, I don't know if he can really act very well. This was my thought process. Again, young, stupid, not knowing, right?
Yes.
When he read Harper, I was like, oh, he's good. He's a good actor. They were like, what about him for Lance? I said, well, he's kind of small, right? But, you know, Morris beefed up quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't when he read the first time, he wasn't the guy that you saw on the screen.
This joint is hilarious, boy.
He did a great job, you know, with Lance, and my wife was like, yeah, you should cast him. Like, don't even play around. So Nia came in to meet. She was fantastic. She was like the biggest star at the time.
Craig,
What's up?
are you high?
When Sanaa Lathan came in to read for Robin, I had, again, many people in mind for Robin. But when she came in and read, she was Robin. Many people came in and read for Quentin, and he's on the page, he reads as a funny character. Terrence came in, and first of all, he was late. He has his guitar, but I said, you play it? Oh, yeah. And he takes it out, flips it, did the same thing he does in the movie. And I was like, okay, I think this could be the guy. Melissa De Sosa, she came and read. She was so funny.
Bitch. Thanks, Mia.
Regina coming in to play Candy, you know, she didn't like dancing. You know, it's a stripper role, so it's very kind of...
Yeah, it's like, is this how I want to make my debut?
Right.
Is this what I want people to see me as?
And we had no idea that she was funny. You know, I always had Harold Perrineau in mind. Monica Calhoun came in, and she read a couple of times for Mia. And I remember, you know, she was very kind of like subdued, and her hair was pulled back, and I was like, is she the person? And I said, just, you know, tell her to just glam up one time. Then she came, I was like, okay. She came in, she read, I was like, okay, that's it, we're done.
Oh, it's because he's a true friend. And he dedicated his first novel to us.
So you read my book too?
No, but I heard great things.
Oh, that's good.
Tay Diggs.
Hi, what's up?
What's up, buddy?
Could I get a, another sparkling water?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Told you we should have got Morris.
When Harper Stewart agreed to be the best man at his best friend's wedding, it was a reunion of old friends. But before the happy couple can walk into the future, they'll all have to confront the secrets of their past.
I remember the first time Best Man came out in 1999. I was like 20, about to be 21, and I will never forget, it was me and my homegirls went, and we was watching it, and then my friend was like, girl, I'm coming back to this with an actual man, cause, she said I was getting on her nerves because I kept laughing and stuff.
Well, well, well. The gang's all here back in effect. Break out the 40s.
Hey, sorry.
We were on this whole thing about like how many dates could we get to take us to go see Best Man. So like we was in this competition, so we would go out to the clubs, meet guys, and then I'd be like, I'm going to see Best Man tonight. Like, so I believe that her and I single-handedly made this movie a hit because I went to see Best Man 7 times. She said she saw it like 10 times.
I actually auditioned for Best Man.
You did?
Yes, I remember being in a room with Malcolm, and I don't know if you've ever had this happen. I've been in auditions and then have been doing so bad, I've stepped out of my body and was like, nigga, stop. You're not gonna get this. And seeing what Terrence did, it was the role that Terrence played, I was like, yeah, I had none of that.
Just a little something to add to the repertoire. You know a nigga got gifts.
Best Man came out in 1999, so I was 19, I was in college. So I wasn't as grown as the people in the film, but they were like the people that I aspired to be.
The casting was incredible, and the casting had people who, even though we're meeting their character, we had a sense of who they were as actors and as people.
Who stands out to me in the cast is actually Sanaa Lathan, because she was a regular-looking Black woman to me. She represented me in the film. It was like, oh, she got a Black mama and a Black daddy. I could beat her.
Come back and tell me.
I think I identify the most with Tay Diggs' character. 1, he's a writer. 2, he uses the people around him as inspiration, and there's pros and cons of that. Falling out with a close friend. I've fallen out with close friends before, and there's just a lot of elements and themes of that particular character's journey that I can for sure identify with and felt bad for him. Even though, you know, he did smash the homie's girl. Which I would never do, just to be clear.
You're always fly.
Oh, you always got your shirt buttoned all the way up to the...
Yes, I used to be a gangbanger, and sometimes they watch some of the shows I do. They want to make sure.
I know that, right?
That was a circus gang song. How are you, brother?
I'm all right, man. Yeah, I feel good. Just trying to keep working.
Right. I've never seen you not working, Tay.
Well, that's the key, man.
Speaking of work, let's talk
Yes.
about one of the projects you're probably most recognized for, at least with the blacks.
Bad Boys?
Bad Boys 2. No, The Best Man, of course, right?
The Best Man.
Would you say, like, and it's probably culturally, like, when people see you, where do they know you from?
The Best Man in the Wood.
Right, so those are older blacks.
Yeah, older
Yes.
blacks.
Yeah.
Older African Americans.
Right. But
And then
iconic.
some of the ladies, how
Right.
Stella got her groove back.
Right.
The grandmothers.
Do you remember the audition for The Best Man? Or were you big time and they just gave it
Well,
to you?
here's the thing. I was told that it was an offer, right?
Now, where were you in your career at this time? You had done
I had done
Broadway.
How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I had done The Wood.
Right.
I think I had done this movie called Go. I had done, Broadway. So like it was starting to happen. You know what I mean? And I was feeling myself. And it was my first offer. They said they needed me to come in and help read for the other potential actors.
Right. So,
but I later found out that
you were auditioning.
I was auditioning too.
Marriage, you know? Moving in together. The last person you ever have sex with, ever. It's pretty deep.
Yeah, well, at least you're getting some on the regular.
Were you one of the first people cast?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, because now that you had the audition, they could have lied to everybody else.
They could have. I remember auditioning with Terrence Howard.
Right.
And he was so good.
What makes him good? What makes him good?
Oh, I think he's crazy.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Handsome gentleman playing like myself, I'm gonna pimp this baby right here.
He is one of those cats that is a little off in that he's kind of brilliant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was an audition. I remember he was in all white. He had this white hat. He had this guitar on, playing this guitar upside down. Big scene between Harper and Quentin. And in the scene, I remember I thought it was so cool. He took out a cigarette and lit the cigarette. I let the character get upset at the fact that he was so cool. So when I started to scream at him, I hit the cigarette out of his mouth. And turned and we both started laughing.
In character?
In character.
Oh, good.
In character.
And so Malcolm Lee must have saw that.
Yeah.
Tell me about the first day on the set.
We had rehearsals. And I thought, okay, he's serious. So we rehearsed a couple of times, and I remember I felt very prepared.
Right.
Very prepared. Butterflies, you know, the whole thing. And it was fun. It was like camp. You know what I mean? Like these beautiful, black, talented actors that I had grown up on.
Right.
Nia Long and Morris Chestnut. And we just hung out all day, every day.
Would y'all cut it out with that Leave It to Beaver shit?
It was magical. Because you gotta understand, like I grew up, I was always called the white boy.
Right.
I was always made fun of. And this movie, it was like, oh, okay, these people get me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was amazing.
Right.
I didn't have to act like something that I wasn't.
Right.
And I could be myself. And I really love that. And I owe Morris and Terrence and Harold, they got it. You know what I mean? And they got me. Everything was turning out the way I thought it would. Like when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I was like, I want to be in the movies.
Right.
And it was happening. I was like, I've arrived.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking that I'm gonna have
offers.
Well, like be Matt Damon.
Right.
You know what I mean? For the longest time, I didn't want to believe that the business was racist.
Is there something that you were up for and then maybe it went white?
It's interesting to think about the black rom-coms in the 90s and the 2000s. Black excellence was just on screen. And I don't know why it happened in the 90s, why it was the peak moment. Maybe it was a response because we also had, on the complete opposite end, you have Boys in the Hood, you had Menace to Society. On a softer side, it was nice to have these beautiful Black love stories told.
Don't go too far, okay?
Never.
Oh, there they go.
Being able to show a functional relationship that is thriving, that consists of a Black person, is something that's so important because it gives hope.
When you think about the Black women that were on the screen during that time, you had Nia Long, you had Lela Rochon, you had Tisha Campbell, you had Sanaa Lathan, Robin Givens. Some say we resemble each other.
What was it like working with Nia Long?
So pretty. And so talented. She has the type of talent that it just sneaks up on you. You know what I mean?
I feel like our opportunity has presented itself again. And I don't want us to miss out on it twice.
She'll be on the phone, she'll be messing with her hair, and then they'll call action, and she'll take a simple scene and we'll just completely turn it on its head.
You know, you got some nerve blaming me for your skeletons, mister.
Jordan?
No, I'm not done, Harper. You wrote the book. You aired your dirty laundry. No matter how hard you tried to disguise it, it was you.
And then they'll say cut, and then she's back on the phone. She's something else. She's a force to be reckoned with.
Do you have a favorite scene from Best Man?
The stripper scene, where I had to be kind of drunk, and
Regina.
There were strippers. Regina, yes. She was really, really good in that. That was one of her first projects.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm so sure.
The scene where Morris hangs me out of the window.
Yeah.
People love that.
Right.
People love to remind me of that.
You really gonna do this? Hell yeah, I'm gonna do this shit.
And I remember thinking Malcolm was corny at times, like the comedic timing. I remember challenging him, saying, this is too over the top. And he said, just trust me, man, trust me. And I was like, all right, fine. And I remember seeing it at the premiere. And I went up to him and I said, man, you were right. It all played and it was really great, and I apologize for doubting you.
Boom, this movie's a success.
Yes.
You go on to do several other
But
things.
not like the white stuff.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
talk to me about
like,
that.
Cause I was like, I've arrived.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking that I'm gonna have
offers.
Be Matt Damon.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was just a little bit of a hush and.
Really?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, it wasn't like you know.
Stars Born, you weren't?
Nope. The phones weren't ringing off the hook.
Really?
Yep. For me, I acted like it wasn't as good as it was, because it wasn't getting the same attention as the other stuff. Uh-huh. And that's when it started to really piss me off. Because for the longest time, I didn't want to believe that the business was racist, because it happened so quickly and so easily for me. And then once I got in and really started to watch, I was like, oh, okay. I see it. Okay. Interesting.
Do you have any specific stories?
Yeah.
Is there something that you were up for and then maybe it went white? Or
Handsome Rob and Italian Job.
Right.
Handsome Rob, Premier Wheelman. Once drove all the way from Los Angeles just so he could set the record for longest freeway chase.
So, Mos Def was in the movie.
Yeah.
So he was the black dude. So because they had the black dude, they couldn't have Handsome Rob be black too, because then maybe you might make it a black movie. So they had to go white.
Then it would have been called The African Job.
The African Job, right. Kunta Kinte. It was eye-opening, you know what I mean? Because once I figured it out, it was much easier to move, as opposed to taking everything so personally. I took stuff really personally.
Best Man is a success, at least in our eyes as a people.
Yeah.
One Nation.
All it was, yeah.
A lot of black rom-coms kind of spawned from that.
Brown Sugar, which you were also in.
Yeah. The Brothers.
That was a big explosion.
There was.
You guys have all flourished.
Absolutely, man. And the tripped out thing is, it was just a movie. It was just a gig.
Right.
You know, it was just a gig. I was really hyped to be working. I hadn't read a script like that, ever. You know what I mean?
Oprah Winfrey wants my new book, Unfinished Business, for her January Book of the Month Club show.
Harper, you kidding?
I ain't kidding.
A movie about a group of friends, upwardly mobile and black. Isn't that a trip?
Yeah.
Like at that point in time, it didn't exist. It was the first of its kind.
Right.
I was so hyped, and I was like, I gotta be a part of this. I gotta be a part of this. Why? Because the black people are just like regular people. It's so crazy. It's the first time this
He's not a
ever happened.
superhero. He's not a super athlete.
No.
He's not.
No.
Yeah.
I had no idea, you know, how it would affect the landscape. I had no idea how it would affect other black projects, how it would affect us as actors. No idea.
Angela Rye. How are you?
Good.
Welcome to my home.
It is beautiful.
That we're shooting in.
That you're shooting
Yes.
in. Okay.
You know what we're doing?
Yes.
We're here to talk about The Best Man,
Yes.
right? So do you remember when you first saw The Best Man, and where were you?
My first time seeing Best Man, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get everything. You
Too
know?
young.
No, yeah, I didn't get everything.
You're waiting for the best boy to come out.
Marriage is gonna curb that appetite for more women. In case y'all didn't know, marriage is a cure to promiscuity. In what world?
I said that, man.
The thing that always stood out to me as I got older and I watched it, it is a story about friendship that, you know, really seeing friendship in a different way, because I don't know if I could forgive.
Right.
Something that crazy.
Oh my God! Oh, okay, now you want God, huh? You want God? Ain't that a bitch?
Well, baby.
Could I forgive?
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my best man.
My best man
Yeah.
slept with my future wife.
There's so many layers, because Lance cheated a lot. You know what I mean? So there's the double standard of...
Right.
They broke up that day, didn't they?
Yeah, but you don't go get some free dick because you broke up for the day.
Yes, you do. Y'all do it all the time.
Not the friend.
The best
look, women
friend.
have to
The
take
guy
what
who-
is
the guy
available
who-
right around
No,
them.
Not the best. Best friend is taboo.
And then the guilt, like the idea of forgiveness, and Lance being so religious.
It actually made me think like, whoa, could I be as strong as this character to ever forgive like that?
I think it was so important to see a Black rom-com deliver the way that it did and have so many different personalities. Just to see the different aspects of us and the way that, you know, the characters related to each other and everything. I just thought it was so beautiful. And, you know, ain't nothing like making out in a nice Black rom-com. And I made out a few times watching that one.
I'm waiting on my chance. I'm gonna have to write
You
it.
never made out in a movie theater?
Love Jones, nothing?
Nah. Man, I was
He
Love
was
Jones
like-
was like
he
94.
was like
I was 6 or 7 years old. Nah.
I can't remember what movie theater I was in, but I remember feeling like this is Black excellence on screen.
You know they talking super.
Which character do you relate to?
You know, a lot of them. I feel like Nia Long's character.
Jordan, stop it. This is business. This is your boy. This is strictly business. It's all good. You tell me what you think.
But I also relate to some of the, like the love of Sanaa Lathan's character,
Yeah.
Robin, because like there's, you know, this organization in the kitchen cooking is fun. She's probably a much better chef than me, but I'm all right.
Speaking of the kitchen, I'm gonna take you for a tour. You can see this would be a great, if they wanted to shoot The Best Man,
They should do it
this
here.
would be a great place, especially to like do a wedding scene.
Mm-hmm.
Come.
Let's see. Okay. Shall we?
Yes.
We shall.
Why do you think that movie
resonated so well with our culture?
I think it was like Black excellence on screen. I think it was like the diversity of the Black experience, you know, the family construct, the way that we become family in school.
Family.
You know, friends and family, your chosen family.
We got it.
You know, I think it's good. It's good. Yeah. I think it represents like what a lot of us either hoped to have achieved in school or actually did. For me, it was the hope because I didn't choose an HBCU or go to school with a large Black populace. It was going to school and going home after class at UW.
So in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of these Black rom-coms. Delivers from Eva, Two Could Play That Game, anything Morris Chestnut did. Why do you think those were so important back then?
You know, I think that a precursor for them was Boomerang.
You have an eyelash that's gonna go in your eye. Wait, come here. All right?
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm fine.
Yeah?
Trying to seduce me on the sneak. Oh, that was very seductive what you just
What about?
With the success of Boomerang, it opened up more opportunities for projects like those to be greenlit. It was really good to see us beyond Dead Presidents, beyond Above the Rim.
We were just coming out of that.
Yeah. There were many of our films, from Boys in the Hood to Poetic Justice to Menace to Society, that are classics. They showed us in a kind of a monolithic way. You know, it was the hood, it was what folks are really exposed to, so they weren't lying. But there's another side of us. We aren't a monolithic people. So this showed the loving side of us. And folks who made it, there are ways out and up.
Face it, we fit together.
Yeah, but
You love me, don't you?
of course I do. But it's not that simple.
It is to me.
Why do you think it's important for our culture to see Black love portrayed like that? And then, why is it important for them?
That's so rude.
The Canadians. Why is it important for them to also see Black love?
It's important to see that we love just like you love. We have challenges just like you have challenges. We have jobs just like you have jobs, you know? And we're successful just like you're successful. And even in that, humanity shows up. Shortcomings show up. Challenges show up. It was just human. It was a human experience. And I think in particular in that movie, you had young Black professionals who taught you what it meant to be loving unconditionally. It's a necessary story to tell because it's our truth.
The Best Man was in 1999, and then Best Man Holiday was 2013.
Correct.
And how did that happen? Because didn't you have like a plan to do like a whole like 8, 9 movies?
No, not 8 or 9 movies.
I can't tell you how good it is to have all of us under the same roof again.
Christmas in New York.
It's gonna be great.
I always thought I would do a follow-up to Best Man. They wanted me to do it like right away. Like the studios, oh, let's do it. I was like, I didn't want to be a one-trick pony. I didn't want to, you know, follow up with the same kind of thing and not have other stories to tell and not expand my storytelling ability. And so it got to a point where like I was desperate for work. And I was like, okay, it's time to do it now. And I knew I wanted it to be centered around a holiday. I knew that I wanted to be a funeral. And I'd be talking to them about it, you know, over the years or whatever. And finally, you know, it came to fruition. We all needed it. They all like turned in amazing performances.
Made like 75 million.
It made a good amount of money, and they made money off of it. And we all did. It was all successful.
Best Man Holiday.
Okay.
So, Best Man, why you make that face?
Because this was another situation, even after the Best Man won. Best Man Holiday, I was like, Malcolm, this is too sad. Like, people aren't gonna...
Listen, I swear to God.
Are you serious? And she died. Malcolm, you can't have...
Listen, I was at the premiere, and my wife was with me. I said, I counted, I think 6 people have already cried. I wonder if everybody in the movie is going to...
Dude, imagine me reading it. And I'm like, he can't be serious. And once again, he was right. He was right. Ah, I wept.
Yes.
Ah.
But it still was an incredible comedy.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Brian McDonald.
I like to ski in Vermont with my devices.
I hate you so much.
I
Get
like
out of my
dating
office.
chocolate girls.
I have to ask, what are some of the craziest experiences you've had shooting The Best Man Holiday? What's the wildest moments on set that you've had?
I don't know that I would say any of them have been wild. I mean, you know, I think with Best Man, I made the movie I wanted to make. You know, you hear a lot of horror stories about first time directing and studio interference and things like that. But, you know, I was coming from the Spike Lee, you know, camp. Spike was like, you're in charge, it's your vision. And there were times where he and I did not see eye to eye on casting, on music or whatever. And I just said, well, you know, I took the attitude that this is my vision, this is what I want to have happen. I think I got more collaborative as, you know, the movies went on. Like, I used to be like, you know, say this word exactly like this, you know, in the first one, right? And, you know, with Best Man Holiday, I loosened up a little bit. It's okay, you know, you gotta let actors like find the scene a little bit, you know? You have to let them breathe. Although one time, like I'll give you an example, like in the Best Man Holiday, there's 2 dinner scenes, right?
So you texted your penis? I mean, it's not packaged in any briefs or anything like that, just a raw penis?
I call it a stimulus package.
The first one that actually appears second in the movie, they were doing a lot of improving, and I got really upset. Because I'm like, this is not how this has to be precise. It's not like, you know, there's a reason why certain things are happening. The following week, we shot the first dinner table scene. And whenever they started to go off book, I just call cut. Cut, you know? And they're like, what? I said, no. Do it again, do it what the script says. You know, they got a little testy. Like a couple of times, like Terrence got like, fuck the script. I was like, no, don't fuck the script. This is what I want. Sometimes it has to happen. You know, I've had to clear the set once or twice also.
Really?
Yeah.
Because there's a fight?
No, just because there were disagreements, and it got to a place where I was just like, okay, everybody take 5. And let me talk to my actors. We've had now a 23-year existence with this. And so, like, you know, your colleagues, your friends become family, and, you know, it worked out.
First of all, these were our friends. I know they were friends with each other in the movie, but when we watched it, they became our friends.
I think The Best Man was a hit because it showed friendship, where before the movie starts, you feel like you already know some of these characters and you're an extension of their friend group.
We wanted to see if the marriage was going to last between Monica's character and Morris Chestnut's character. And then when she died, spoiler alert, when she died on Best Man Holiday, we were like, well, how is he going to recover? Like, he's got to raise these kids. It's something that over the past 20 years we've been invested in because these are also our friends, and we want to know, how's their life going to turn out?
Why do you think Black people love the movie so much, The Best Man?
The Best Man franchise is so big that when I hear Can You Stand the Rain by New Edition, I think of The Best Man.
For me, I believe The Legacy of the Best Man is the best Black rom-com of all time, just because of what it was able to do. The sequel was great, and then they were able to turn it into a TV show, and it still worked.
So the thought was, okay, let's do a third movie. I wanted it to be just a straight comedy. You know, I wanted that next, you know, because it was so emotional with Best Man Holiday. I said, okay, let's have some fun on this next one. But, you know, we couldn't put a budget together. So then, you know, with streaming and, you know, limited series being so popular, I was like, okay, maybe I can do that. So the idea was to, like, turn these two 2-hour movies into a longer series, I thought, okay, let's do that, you know, in television. And, you know, TV is a very different animal than is movies. And I kind of know what I'm doing in movies. And television is like, still one of these like elusive animals, but it's still The Best Man.
It was a success.
It was a success.
A big success.
You know, I wasn't sure that it was gonna kind of, you know, kind of live up to the movies. And I thought it's still, people were satisfied with it. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, that's what really matters.
It was good. It was very good.
Thank you.
Hey, toast it up, man. Congratulations to you and to you.
You're friends with any of the cast members outside of?
No, I hate them all.
You hate them all?
We became very, very good friends, and we stay in contact. You know,
awesome.
We see each other at award shows and you know, vacations, and it was really great this last time though, because
You're talking about the series.
I'm talking about the series, Best Man, the series.
Right.
Because we've all grown, we all have families, and it was really great to you know, see each other as adults.
TV series was fun. Nicole Larry Parker.
Yeah.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to paradise.
Hey! Wow. Chic life.
Yes, she
Look
did.
at her.
We all came with our bag of tricks.
Right.
He trusted us, we trusted each other, and we just sat back and just watched everybody just go to town.
Right.
When I actually saw the final product, I was so impressed. Because after we finished shooting, I think we had it. We had it.
What do you mean by that?
Like I didn't want to see nobody no more, you know what I mean?
Right.
And we really dug into it, you know what I mean? Like I really gave my all. I left it all out there. So when it ended, I was like, okay, cool, this will be it. And then I saw it, and I immediately wanted to work with everybody again.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Damn, this wedding shit, it never ends.
Who wants ham hocks?
Lance's uncles. And
What is the legacy of The Best Man?
All I can do is tell you like what it meant to me and what I heard. It was very important because I feel like we were doing something that hadn't been done before, and we did it unapologetically. To be able to look on screen and see people that, you know, look like me and talk like me and had those situations, you know, there were no crack pipes and you know, nobody played basketball.
Stocking cap.
No stocking caps, you know what I mean? Rolling dice. It meant something, you know what I mean? And now, people come up to me and say, you were in the classics, and that hit me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
You
that
always
makes it,
classic.
yeah, that's tight.
Yes.
That's really tight. And we were around for all of that, and that's not lost on me.
I think it has an aspirational quality to it. It also has the relatability, first and foremost. And I wanted it to be that way, you know? Like, again, I just wasn't seeing Black people that I could relate to, you know, on screen. That wasn't my experience. And our experience as Black people in the United States and around the world is variegated. So there's no universal, you know, Black experience, but there's a lot of relatability. And what I thought with The Best Man was, it's a universal story that anybody could be these people, but it has cultural specificity. So I think those are the factors that, you know, make it a movie that people love and keep coming back to and want to keep revisiting and want more of.
Well, Malcolm, I just gotta say this, okay? At first, when I first met you, I was a little bit afraid of you.
For Girls Trip?
Yes. What? And I have to say, out of all the directors that I've worked with, I have never felt more safe than when I'm working with you.
Oh.
Because you allow me to be myself, even when you say, okay, dial it back, Haddish, bring this back. Thank you for that. And you are important to the culture.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you.
Love you. Mwah.